now. And what's the next thing I want to do? Hello. So I want to kick off from where we stopped last week. So then we don't just like give us a quick recap of where we were, what we're trying to do, and how our week has been from that time till now. What progress we've made and every other thing like that. Who wants to just walk us through that whole thing? Oh, I didn't add the link for this. Yeah. Let me just quickly add the. Sorry, I can't hear you. Hello?
Hi, David. Sorry, that was a mistake.
Okay. Sure. So I was just asking if anybody wants to like give us a recap of what they've done over the week, if they've made progress, if the classes has been helpful so far, what you're able to do, what you have not done, what you plan on doing, that kind of thing.
Hey, I can go first.
All right, sure.
Okay. I think I'll be able to make some progress. At least I've now been able to create, at least work on the first assignment, create the models and also the YAML file for each of the model.
Okay.
And I was also be able to use the code gen to generate the YAML file. So I think some challenge I'm facing, I don't know why one of the model is not working, that is regarding customer. So I'll also be able to work on the intermediate file. So I think that's the
Is it your stage?
progress so far.
Is it your stage customer?
Yeah, my stage customer. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure that should be easy problem to fix. But if
So
you can share on the group for us to see how we can help you on that. Sounds good. Does that sound good?
yeah, it is.
All right. How for anybody else? Let's be sure that we're not just here talking and talking and talking, or we're acting. I'm sure everybody knows what I'm doing, so no lily. I'm just adding test YAML files to these int models, right? Um, okay. Today, what do we plan on covering today? I think last week we quickly just brushed through this whole stuff. Um, Emphasis will not be made on dimensional, like modeling from a conceptual standpoint, because expectation is that we understand that like a little bit. So I'm just adding this documentation for these three intermediate layers we created. We created one last week. I just did one right now, just before the call. I just did two right now, just before the call, which you can see order delivery metrics and order and customer orders. And I'm going to walk us through what we are doing in there. Um, just a quick walkthrough. And today we are now going a little bit advanced. What are we trying to do? We're trying to create a fact model. So we're going to do this together. We're going to choose the grain. We're going to add calculated fields. We already have that already in our int model. We are going to implement business logic if it exists. We'll test the fact table integrity, and we'll create custom target schemas with macros. What else are we going to do? We're going to build dimension models. We're going to use analysis and seed to just explain what it's about. We're going to use DPT cloud deployment. So today's class is pretty easy and straight to the point. Yep. Alpha, any question on what we have on Any question on what's the grammar? Is there any question on the outline for today? So I'm not seeing my screen as I'm sharing my screen to see the reaction and stuff like that. So if there's a reaction, you will just probably unmute and just speak to it so that I can hear you. Somebody say something now. You said? I'm asking if on our outline for today, everybody is clear.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Forgive my description here. I'm just putting.
Is the bridge water now?
Okay, please unmute when you're.
Fast.
Please sorry, mute your mic when you're done speaking. Okay. I'm not explaining because I believe everybody knows what I'm doing. Okay. So these are the three int models we have.
I have a bit concern.
Okay.
Based on the last week outline, so on our intermediate model, so is that where we build the part table, I mean the dimension table?
In the int model,
Hmm?
take the question.
Okay, my question is that, so like this week now, like focus on the fact table. So is fact table the dependence on the
Int
dimension table?
correct. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to also ask the intermediate table, I mean the intermediate model, which is the bronze layer, I mean the silver layer. So is it that we perform our various dimension model on it, be it fat or dimension on the silver layer? That's intermediate.
Yes, yes. That means you would not read this blog I shared for people to read. You would not read.
I'm always focused on something.
Okay, I'm just going to walk through this quickly. How we structure our projects. That's why I said we should read this. But on a high level, our int model is where we do our business logic transformation. We do joins between our stage models. On our stage models, we don't do any joins, right? Typically, except for rare cases. But typically, your stage models are just coming in as it is. They are at the atomic layers. You're bringing in the data as it is from source, right? You can create your subdirectories based on source system, and that's why we have. If we come to our staging folder, we have a source called olist. If you had a different another data source called hotspot, we would have a folder called hotspot. If you have another data source called whatever, I don't know, give me sources. I can't think of anyone again. Facebook, right? Facebook ads, Meta ads, TikTok ads would have this as folders in the source. And essentially what we're just doing, we're just bringing in data as it is from the source, right? That's what happens in the staging layer. We give the file name consistency, and this is how DBT suggests you name your stage files. Stage underscore the source underscore entity. So in this case, I don't know that we follow that explicitly, but in this case, so this should be stage underscore o list underscore others. So we didn't do this because we just have one source. But when you have different sources, like you have the orders table coming in from Shopify and you have orders table coming from Olist, right? You want to be able to distinguish those different staging orders table. And so the best way to do that naming convention, your file names, is like stage underscore the source Shopify in this case, double underscore entity orders. So if I have stage O list orders, I can differentiate it from stage Shopify orders. I can differentiate it from stage attentive others, right? It helps me just differentiate all these things. Um, and what else do we do in staging model? Essentially, that's what we just do there. We rename if we need to convert currency type from cents to dollars, we do it in here. If we need to add the field like this, like it's completed field based on status, we do that here. If we want to truncate a timestamp into dates, we do it in here. If we want to change a date to timestamp, we do it in here. Like all those minor transformations, all happens on the stage layer, but we don't join tables together. We just bring things as they are, easy and peasy, right? By the time we go to the intermediate layer, we want to now build on those atomic layers we have created, right? And some of the things that are here is that we now begin to group subdirectories based on business grouping. So yeah, we just had intermediate layer and we didn't even create any folder in here because we just have one source. So in a case where there are two ways. Sometimes at work we group our intermediate layer based on source. So um the same way we have grouped intermediate layer, source layer based on source, we group intermediate layer based on source. Other options will be to group intermediate layer um by business grouping. Let me see if I can quickly show you something. Just let me stop sharing and see if I can do that. If I cannot share with you, then I will not share. But let me try and see if I can share with you. The first link for attendance. Thank you so much. Let me get it right now.
You're muted, David.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I said if anybody has the link handy, I'm trying to get the link to the attendance. But if anybody else has it, please feel free to get it. Okay. I think I found it. Okay, it's on the chat now. Yes, I stopped sharing because I want to see if I can share something with you. Ah, da, da, da. Okay, I can share with you. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So just this is going to be very quick. Um, these are models, right? You can see intermediate, smart, and staging. In my staging, I have different sources. Retail, Amazon ads, Amazon selling partner, DPT cloud API for something you're doing, Facebook ads, Google ads, um, Google Sheets, NetSuite, Shopify, Snapchat ads, TikTok ads. All these are sources. So if I open these models, they're just bringing in data from the source. We have the intermediate layer. Now, intermediate layer, I now broke it down into still based on sources, right? But now they now group related sources from the intermediate from the staging layer. By the time I go to the math layer, I now have it based on reporting. I have my paid media, I have my reporting tables, I have my sales table that feed into my reporting table. So that was just a quick way to show you how to group these intermediate layers, and that's how it goes, that's how it flows. I hope that was helpful. Um in your intermediate layer, you can also group by business grouping. So let's say you have customer related sources. Let's say HubSpot, Salesforce. You could have intermediate layer, say intermediate customer support. Let's say you have transactions coming in from Shopify, transactions coming in from another source entirely. You can have intermediate transactions where you now begin to do some joins aggregation within that intermediate layer, right? And then your math models is now what you now use to create your reporting tables for like facts orders, facts payments. At this point, you've now consolidated all the different sources into one order. So when somebody, sorry, when somebody is seeing orders in your facts table, it comprises of every source where orders is coming from. Even if orders is coming from 5 different sources, your fact orders is now having all orders within that table. So that's way it helps us to have a single reporting system. You don't want to have orders reporting orders from Shopify, another person reporting orders from Salesforce, another person so everywhere there's orders. Your fact model has done that consolidation into one single model, and your int model helps you to do that very easily. I hope that is helpful, but I'll still expect you all to please read that material if you have not read it. It's going to help you to understand exactly how this works, understand DBT's recommendation, and then based on your use case, you can now say, okay, I want to tweak this, I want to tweak that, right? But first and foremost, you need to understand how it works. I've seen very interesting DBT projects that are very, very interesting. Interesting in a negative way, I mean, right? So I hope that will not be your case in Jesus' name. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's move forward. Order ID, data test, unique, not null. So we wanted to create 3 intermediate layer chat. Okay, can I just shared it now? Okay. We have 3 intermediate layers: customer orders, customer delivery metrics, and customer orders enrich. I start from customer orders enrich. I did not crack my head on these models. I'm just bringing something I think we can work with. For orders enriched, I am using stage order items, stage orders, and stage order payments. And I am bringing in the order ID, the order item ID, the product ID, all these fields, value of freight, price, payment value, payment and payment installment, because I think that these are fields that will be helpful in downstream in the facts layer, right? And I did my joins in here and brought to my final table. Now, something interesting was that I also added a unique field. One of the things I'm going to tell you and advise you today is that by all means necessary, always have testing in place for all your models. You don't want to underreport or overreport due to duplicates. You don't want to overreport due to duplicate. And it's very easy, right? So at this point, I've done some joins, right? And I may have a fan out, I may not know. But once I have what's it called? Once I have a test in place based on the business logic, expected business logic. Now on this table, I am doing my orders enrich. What is the smallest green on this table? The smallest green on this table is my order item or my order line ID. However, looking at this data set, I noticed that the order item is duplicated across orders, right? So it's not going to be the order item ID is not like a real order line ID, or just a line item that can be purchased multiple times. But then I know that this table is not on an order level grain, is on an order item level grain. What do I mean by order and order item? Order means like David, goes to Jumia and purchase and makes an order. In my order, I have 3 items: iPhone 15, iPhone 16, iPhone 17 inside my cart, and I purchase that order. Now that order has one order ID. However, there are 3 line items in that order ID: iPhone 15, iPhone 16, iPhone 17. Now, the grain of this model is in order item. And one of the fundamentals of dimensional modeling is that when building your models, you have to identify your grain that you want to use for reporting. And most times, it's usually best to use your smallest grain so you can always aggregate or roll up to to bigger grains or whatever the case may be. So in my business logic for this model, my grain is my order item ID. But because of what I just explained, that the order item ID is not a true ID of every line item within an order, right? But an item that is duplicated among several orders. What did I do? I decided to create a surrogate key using DBT utils package. A surrogate key is a key I create for myself based on how I understand the business to be. So for me, my surrogate key right now is a combination of order ID and order item ID. In other words, I expect that this combination will always be unique. This combination will always be unique. If it is not unique, then something is wrong with my logic or my understanding or the data. one of the ways. So these are ways you can now begin to explore more on your data and try to fix what that issue is. And if I build this to run a test, let us see whether my test will pass. So I just added a test for that stuff for other enriched in this table. Yeah. Ah, it failed. Hey. Oh, la la, oh la la. So my logic or my understanding is wrong. So in the unique field, men and brethren, we have a problem to solve. Okay, let's see.
Yes, sir. I'm fine, thank you, sir. How you doing, sir?
Okay, these are duplicated records. So let's troubleshoot this together. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take this unique field and bring it in here and see if it's truly unique, right? So where unique field, if it's truly duplicate on all records. If it's duplicate on all records, then probably it's coming from my join, probably it's coming from somewhere. But let's just figure out what's going on. Okay. Okay, so it's unique. It's not unique on payment type and payment value, as we can see. So let us see. This is the price, this is the freight. We know that payment value is equal to the sum of 179.99 plus 23.58 203. Okay, so this payment value is equal to 203, which is the sum of price and freight value as expected using the data. However, it is duplicated on payment type. So I need solutions. Guys, what do you think we should do? I have a thought on what I think we can do. Um, well, I'd like to hear your thoughts. What do you think we can do to solve this? So we want just one record for this unique ID, for this unique field, because this is a combination of order ID and order item ID. And the sum of price and freight value is equal to the sum of this 203 point something, right? But it is now splitted based on payment type. So we have 149 coming from voucher, 53 coming from credit card, but we want just one line item for this. And what do you think we can do to solve this problem? Speak for your servants hear it, please.
Can
Yes, I can hear you.
we use a goodbye?
A goodbye. No, if we group by, we are going to, if we are, what are we grouping by? If we are grouping by payment type, we are going to now have two records. We are not grouping by. Grouping by will give us two records, right? It's already grouped by current, like technically right now. It's grouped by payment type, and that's why we are seeing a record for voucher and a distinct record for credit card. So technically it's grouped by by
Okay, so maybe we can assign an ID to the payment type and then join it with the unique ID. I don't know if that works.
the Lord be with you. I think that makes it so you're saying we create a int model or dimension model for payments, say int payment type or dim payment type, and then we use the ID instead of the name. Is that it?
Yes.
So if we do that, the ID will still be here. We're going to have two IDs here. So let's say voucher is one, credit card is two. We'll still have one and two here. Okay, and then let me confirm. So are we still going to leave payment type in here with the IDs?
Mm.
Huh?
So the goal is to combine the two of them, right?
The goal is to have one record.
Oh.
One record in this table, one record per order ID per order line, per order item, per order ID. However, because this order, like I said, so that my iPhone 15 and 16 and 17, I bought one with voucher and I bought the other one with credit card. So within that order, this payment type has splitted this into two records. But I want the grain of this model is not by order ID, order item, payment type. The grain is by order ID and order item ID because that's the smallest grain. So I was just trying to say, what do you think? She said, how about creating surrogate key based on ID and payment? So I think we want to take that approach of taking this field out of here, taking payment type out of here. So we no longer have payments type in here, and then we now have a probably an int model. We might call it int payment or a dim payment, where you can now split in payments. You can split out payments based on payment type because this the people may want to find out which channel do people pay the most from. Is it from vouchers? Is it from credit card? Is it from a source like that? So I think that's what we want to do. We want to create that kind of a thing. How do we quickly do that? First of all, let's take this out. Means payments. It's still fail. Okay. Got one result failed. One result failed. Okay, I still have my filter here. So what we can do is to create a dimension table or an int payment table that has a payment ID and payment type that's standalone. And so we can use that table to join to well payment type even now be safe. How are you feeling now? I don't have energy for you today. Please don't fail again. 300 and something records. I'll be 3,000. Okay, well, let us see what's going on. Let's just solve our problem. Only me would have just walk out of this problem. Who wants to walk out of the problem or should solve the problem? Well, let's solve our problems.
Thank you for your
You said? Okay, so we still have two records. Where is duplicate coming from? Okay. It looks like it's coming from the join. Someone tell me otherwise. So it looks like it's coming from the join. Let's see. Compromise. Okay, yeah, it's coming from the join. So we're joining on order payments on order ID and order ID. Let's see. Okay, let me take this order ID from here and see what it looks like in the payments table. How far we are together right now debugging? Uthman, Rashid, you have to find a way to come back. But those of us that see on the call, are we on the same page on what we're trying to do?
Gives reassurance without being asked.
Is
Yes.
it? Okay, so let's see what this order looks like in stage payment. So there's a fan out going on when we join to payments table. Okay, so we are bringing this guy into this guy, and he has two records. So we'll probably want to aggregate we'll probably want to aggregate payment table. So we can see the problem, right? So our payment table is having multiple records per order ID, whereas our orders and order item is not multiple per order ID. But we need this payment information. And we also need this we need payment information, but we also need this breakdown. So we'll probably have a dimension table that has this breakdown. Would it be a dimension table in this case? Because we need to join to order ID to get the breakdown. You can solve it as your take home, but for this one, we're going to aggregate this by order ID. Does anybody not understand what I'm doing? Does anybody not understand? Please let's speak to me. Guys, talk to me. How far? Are we on the same page? Yes, we are on the same page. Okay, the one pencil, we're on the same page. All right. So we now have one record. So what did we do? When what happened or what has been happening is that our payment table is broken down. Payments payment is broken down based on payment type and installments. However, our order line, this our enriched order is just supposed to be our grain is order item grain. So we just want one record per order item, but we still want the payment value. However, we can't get this breakdown by payment type and payment installment. So we probably want to have another int payment table that is broken down by order ID and payment information, where we can now do that breakdown in there. So for that, you can do that on your own. For now, we're just going to retain this table as is. The Lord God be with you all. Please, if there's so let's test our model again whether it's going to pass right now. Any questions so far? Are we on the same page? Are we on the same page? Any question? Okay. Yeah, please, let's just try to speak, so I can know we are together.
Yeah.
Together, we are
Thank you,
together.
Rich.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's see. Was it successful? Yes, our test was successful. Praise Master. Jesus. All right, and then we have our int list order delivery metrics. What did we do here? I just told ChatGPT to do this thing for me. I don't have time to think about this. But this is coming from our stage orders. Our stage orders has these models or has these tables or has these fields, right? And then what are we doing? We are getting days to approval, difference of days between order date and approved dates, date difference between approved date and carrier delivery date. Basically, we're just trying to get delivery metrics right out of this days in transit, total delivery days, and calculate estimated versus actual. We want to get order days versus estimated delivery dates, estimated delivery date versus customer delivery dates to get delivery delay days. Delivery status flag is on time. If delivery date is less than estimated delivery date is on time. If delivery date is greater than estimated delivery date is delayed. If status is delivered and customer delivery is not null, then true as is delivered. We're just creating some booleans that may be useful. Downstream is cancelled. Um, delivery performance categories. This guy tried. Okay, makes sense. Not delivered on time. You can play around with this. Yeah, so this is our delivery metrics table. The grain of this table is what? Somebody help me. What is the grain of this table?
Other ID.
Correct, order ID. So what will be our test? Our test would be on order ID. So let me go to delivery metrics. You can have more tests for our basic tests, like basic. You can add as many tests as you want, but basic should be your uniqueness and not null on your unique field. In other words, every table you create should have a unique field. Either is a natural unique field or a surrogate unique field. There must be a unique field. Hi, Eben, you can go ahead.
All right. So your the method you your method of creating surrogate keys. Sorry, when you talk about green, so that means that like on a other ID green, that means the result of the table it is just going to be just one other ID. Like there is not going to be duplicate other ID. Is that what you mean by other ID green?
Yes, I mean that on a I had a video on green. I mean that on a on your model, if your green is other ID, that's on an other ID level. For every other ID, it must be unique and it must not be null. That is what I mean. Kimball has
Okay.
this somewhere in Kimball's website. Yes. Declaring a green is a pivotal step in dimensional modeling. You have to declare, that's the first thing you do, you declare your green. So your green establishes exactly what the single fat row represents. So what does the row here represent? Like she said, a row here represents the delivery metrics of an order ID. What does a row represent here? A row represents here the order value, date, status, payment value of an order ID and its line item. Are you clear? So a green is like your
Yes.
lowest level. What every row represents, that's the green of that model. And so that's where you can either now roll up. So it's usually advised that it's the lowest of your business entity. Okay. I feel like parring. So the next and our test is successful on this guy. So kudos to us. The next model we have is customer orders. So we did customer orders just to be something we can use to know more about our customers, right? So we have our staging customers, and we also have this model called int o list orders enrich. Who can tell me what is going on here? So in this my int model, I am referencing another int model. So if I open my lineage here, you would see that this is my source. This is my o list customer source, right? These are my staging tables. These three staging tables are creating this whole list orders enriched. Now, for my customer orders, I am utilizing orders enriched and stage customers. Why? Because I need some. Why am I using int orders enriched? I need some of the things that are in this model. Now, why do I need to join these things again to create this one? One of the goals of DBT is working in a modular method and working dry. Do not repeat yourself and work more in a modular manner. What does modular manner mean? You're programming, like you create modules, you call those modules, or you create functions, you call those functions. So I've already created this int, all these orders, enriched. And I need some fields that exist in here. I don't need to come and do another join inside here of these three models to create this model. I can just reference this particular model, and this my int model will now like basically do that, right? And then can see your lineage flowing. And I told her that one of the ways that DB is able to create this lineage is using what? Someone should tell me. I mentioned this last week.
Ref. Ref and source.
Thank you.
Ref and source.
Yes. So if you don't use your ref and source, if you come to DBT and you write your data, you write you reference you do your select like this. Check out my compiled query. Warehouse.schema.table name. DBT will not see anything. It uses the ref function. So use your ref function so that DBT can. And DBT is very intelligent because I'm in dev right now. My source, is still referencing my source. But once I go into prod, are we doing that today? Yes, we're doing that today. You will see how that will change. The Lord will help us. Somebody say amen. So I'm referencing that. And customer orders aggregate. I have my customer ID. I'm just bringing some aggregation based on customers, right? Total orders of a customer, total revenue of a customer, average revenue of a customer, distinct products purchased, the first order date, the last order date, checking the order is if the customer is a repeat customer. It now even went further and gave me tenure days, give me days since last orders, right? So these are some things you can use for recency, tenure, frequency of a customer. These are like customer metrics, right? Customer metrics. And then what is the grain of this model? People of God. People of God, what's the grain
Customer.
of customer? All right, so
Customer ID.
I've added my test on unique and not null for customers. So let's run this and see if it will pass. So my expectation is that my customer field should not be empty and should not be unique. So that means on this model, I'm not looking at customer orders. I just looking at a single customer. Oh, we are successful. Our uniqueness test pass, our not null test passes. So congratulations to us. Coming int model build. Para. Okay, so we have done all this. Capish, capish. So let's talk about custom target schemas with macros. But give me a second, please. Let me use the convenience. Okay, guys, I'm back. All right, let's talk about custom schema with macros. So notice this. Let me do dbt build to build all our models. I don't want to pull from me, no. Please don't pull from me, no. Ah, my enemies are after me. Oh. Okay, I think it was that link I added. That link I added. Yeah. Okay, so let me run dbt build to run all our models. I want to show something. Sorry, guys. What is failing again now? I thought we have solved this problem. Stage, other items, other IDs failing. Ah, So this is in stage model. What is going on there? So I think we need the surrogate key here as well to make this field unique. I'm just going to copy that my surrogate key in here. The same thing. Just copy this, paste it in here, and I'll call this other ID and call these other items ID, and I'll come to my staging other items.yaml file, and I will change No, I'll just change this to unique field. Okay, what are you still running? Okay, so I want to run these models and show us what it looks like on Snowflake, right? So we can see what the custom schema chain would look like. Okay. Yep. So that's successful. Let me run everything again. So if your data set is very, very large, you may want to create a limit on your dev. So that when you're doing DBT build, you don't have to run everything all the time. So you don't have to, so you're not wasting compute costs, right? You can you can set a limit of records that DBT would run when on dev. So you can say limit 500 records, limit 1000 records, right? When you're running on dev, when you're building on dev. So that's where DBT doesn't have to run every record every time when you're building. So that's just a tip we can have by this side. Okay, okay. Around. So I want to come back with some schemas and I want to show us something from here. Notice that all our models we have been building has been coming in here. I know that because if I open stage products, you can see this is in DBT IO D eBill, right? So that's the schema it's on. Oh shit, he's doing these seeds. Oh shit. As I canceled this, you're running the seed files, which is large, so I don't want
I
to.
wanted to mention it last week that if we are doing DBT build, won't it
Yeah.
also like affect the seed that we already have in the database?
Yes.
So we have to delete it on our end,
Okay,
right?
that makes sense. Right. So we already have it in database, so that makes sense. Where is that stuff? Okay. Is this it? Yeah, go ahead, please. One,
So when you are using DBT build, you cannot exclude anything
and exclude.
like 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 when you are using DBT run, when you can be like dash select
You can
those ones. You
exclude.
can't do that with DBT build.
You can do that. You can exclude.
So that means you can exclude our seed from running during DBT
Yes.
build.
Yes, we can exclude. Hmm, see. Let us see. Yeah, so we're running everything except what's on the model seeds parts. It's still running this guy. It did not exclude. Well, yes, we can exclude. Let me see. Maybe I did not use the syntax very well. So this is what I did. dbt build exclude path to seed files, example seed slash. Oh, it's not in models folder. Right. My bad. Just path.seeds. Let us see. Let us see. Yes. Thank you for the reminder and the suggestion. Oh, them there. You already had it on the chat. I didn't see it. Thank you. Okay, 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 okay. So, what was I trying to do? Yes. I was saying that even now when it comes to Snowflake, you can see that we just have this our in quotes, this is our let's imagine this warehouse stage is our source, right? Is our source, is our source data set, is our source database. Nothing is in here. And one of the benefits of Snowflake is that you can have different databases for your source, stage, intermediate, and reporting. So I have a database here, transformations, and I want everything we are building now to be in transformations database rather. So what do I need to do? Um, Update stage test. So I'm going to go to there are two ways to go. There are three
Hey,
ways.
please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to, because when I load my data, I use C to load it. So if I run dbt exclude now, it's going to remove the seed, right?
Yeah, so dbt build will run without the seed, without running the seed.
Without this,
Yes.
without running the seed. Okay, because I've been looking for a way to. Okay, thanks.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, great, 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 great. So there are three ways we can do this. We can do this on the we can do this on the we can do this on the dbt project YAML file, which is a global config. We can do it on a model level. Well, for me, it makes sense for me to do it on a global config level. Reason being that what's my reason? Reason being that I have several models that I want to be created within that location, especially my int model and my stage model. Right. So it just makes sense for me to put it in there. So what can I do? I can do this. I will say build this model in my transformations database. And then I can also specify the schema I want this to be. And I say build this in, I can create a schema, say staging schema. For my int model as well, I can decide to leave my int model. I can decide to leave my intermediate model as a view, also in my transformation and also in my staging schema. Or I can decide to make my intermediate models tables, anyone that fits your use case. Let's make it tables. Table. So let us save this and see what will happen if this would work as expected. So I'm going to build everything again.
You can override all this, right?
Yes, you can override from the model. So your model config is greater than your global config, right? So let's open this one, for example, and see. So you can see now what dbt built it in transformations.dbt are your staging stage customers. Now you wonder why is it what's the grammar? Why is he having Ayo Ade Ibel? It's because that's the username he has set on the profile for this account we are using. So typically DBT is such that everybody in the team can build concurrently. So if I had my own account I was building, you would see my models, you would see them in my schema, right? That sort of a thing. So we've successfully built this in this table. We have our tables and we have our views. Our int model as tables and our staging model as views. So this is what we have in here. So there's something else we can also do. And then it's called custom schemas in DBT. And it's using a macro, which we're going to use right now. There's a question that somebody should not ask me because I don't have the answer. So I just hope you will not ask me the question. So I'm going to copy this macro and we'll just walk through this macro. This macro is called generate custom schemas. Generate custom schema. Abi, that's what it's called. Yes. We'll generate schema name. .sql. I think next week you'll explain to you what a macro is more deeply, but basically a macro is just like a function, right? So what this macro doing, this function doing, generates, the macro is called generate schema name. What does it take? It takes a custom schema name. Now I set my default schema to always be my target schema. Now in this case I'm in dev. The default schema to be used is dev because I'm my target schema. Now if I don't supply a custom schema name like I've supplied the in my project.yml file, use the default schema name, right? The default schema, which is my target schema. However, if I supply a custom name, give me my custom name should be default name underscore custom schema name, which is what we are seeing here. We are seeing in this model that was built, stage customer, we are seeing custom name, or rather default name, default schema, which is IURDL, blah, 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 underscore staging, right? So, but I probably don't want the default schema name. I only want custom schema name. So if I take this part out, let me see what will happen. Let me see what will happen. Oh, let me see what will happen. This is the part where nobody asked me any question. So let's see. He worked. Oh my God, he worked. He worked. Congratulations, he worked. So I now have transformations dot staging dot transformation dot staging without that custom schema name. What do I want to do? So let me see something. So it has brought in my staging, but then I would want to use the staging schema for production, right? Not for development. So I would rather use this for development and use this for staging. So if we had set this custom name to be dbt dev, would have had dbt dev underscore staging. But in this case, we are having IURD blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to take this back as default so we can distinguish between dev and prod. But when we are now in prod will reference the target schema name. So for now, just to be sure that things will go well, I'm going to drop this schema so that if our prod does not work as expected, I'll be able to detect it because I expect prod to create this schema for me when I put it in prod. So essentially, that's how you create your custom schemas and your custom databases. And when we create our math models, we will also create a database and a schema within our database for reporting. So we can identify fact models in dev and fact models in in production, right? That way, whenever I come into my database or my data warehouse, I can tell that this is my source data. Everything in the database is my source data. Everything in here are my transformation data set coming from my staging layer and my intermediate layer, and everything coming in my, let's just create that database right now. Create database. Let's call this reporting. No, let's call it analytics. How far, so far, so does this make sense? Custom schema, does it make sense? Huh?
It makes a lot of sense from here.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's move forward. Custom schema create. Let me test my listing again before I move out. Somebody wants to say something? No. Okay, so let me just test this out before I move out of here. Yes. So I now have this guy as it should be. Then I want to commit this and say custom schema created. So there's lots you can do with this. You can just explore the documentations and see what you can do with this. Right. So now we move on to building our dimensional models. Alpha, someone should help me build sharp. Okay, with type 2. Do we have anything we can use to build a snapshot? Do we have anything we can use to build a snapshot? Have be someone taking snapshots next week? Let me see. Okay, you take snapshot next week, so I'm not going to bother about that. I'll just explain that on a high level. Okay, so now I want to create our dimension tables. We want to create a dim customers and the dim products and dim seller and a dim geography. Okay, so let's see how we can do that quickly. Everybody understands the concept of dimensions, right? In dimensional modeling. Does everybody understand it? Or is there anybody that doesn't understand it? Does anybody not understand it? Or does everybody understand it?
I believe we understand it.
Okay, thank you very much. Dimensions provide the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, the how of context surrounding a business process or event. What is the business process? A customer makes an order. That is an order is made, or rather, an order is made is the business process, right? Who makes the order? A customer. What does the customer order? iPhone 15. Where does the customer order it? Jumia warehouse. When does the customer order it? Created at 15th of January 2025. Why does he order it? I don't know. He wants a phone. How does he order it? He uses e-channel or he walks into the store. So dimension just gives us that whole context about our business process. All right. In this case, we want to get dim customers, which answers the who. And then if you ask me, what am I going to do right now? I'm going to create a model. I'm going to create a folder right now called the math folder. And within the math folder, since we just have one source, I'm just going to just create team customers, right? I'm going to create team customers. So in my mind, what I want to do, I just want to select from our intermediate customer orders. Does anybody have a reason why I should not select star from this model? Because in my mind, that is what I want to do. Anybody that has alternative opinions should please speak, because as I am now, I am selecting from ARC orders to create my dim customers. Does somebody have anything against me? Are we on the same page on this? Someone tell me something. Are we on the same page? Okay, I can go ahead and select. That's all I'm doing here. I'm just selecting. So, and this is the difference in all these things, right? Everybody has there's a standard, but everybody has their own pros and cons. If it was more complex than this, maybe there may be some computations happening in here. But because it's not really that complex, I'm just going to select from my int customer orders model to get my dim customers, right? Yeah, so last order date. Ooh, is repeat customer. How many of us are working in businesses where where you guys have a high level of repeat customers? Is anybody working in such a business, like such a data point in at work? Or most of us, you experience situations where repeat customers are very few. This one is not DBT, it's just normal data. I'm just curious to hear our thoughts.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, banking. So
Your repeat customer is high
yes.
because you have to make transactions. So what do you define as repeat customers?
What do you say?
What do you guys define as repeat customers?
It's just like the for example across channels. So like or sometimes might be products. So
If I use a banking app every day, is that a repeat customer?
what do you say?
If I use my banking app every day, am I a repeat customer?
Um, so for example, it depends. Yes, it might be. Then also it might be that what for example on your banking app might be the kind of transaction that you do, maybe airtime purchases, how often you do it and all those things. I
Why?
don't know. I think that's frequency. Right?
Frequency.
Is
Frequency.
it's like retention rate is it like a repeat customer?
Retention rates and repeat customers. Repeat customers check that a customer has done an action that you have defined as what makes a repeat customer. Whereas retention rates checks how maybe a particular cohort, like a certain cohort of customers came at the right at this particular time, how they are performing over time. I think that's how we define retention versus repeats. Does anybody have other thoughts on that question? So I'm going to create the YAML file for them.
Well,
Is it?
so we have more retention rate.
We have more retention rates. Okay, okay. Yeah, I just asked because I noticed that in business, some more repeat customer no plenty like that. Especially e-commerce businesses. Especially e-commerce business.
Kind of like give a scenario.
How many times do you buy on what percentage of people frequently, repeatedly buy on Jumia? That's the percentage of people who frequently, repeatedly buy on Jumia is far less than people who buy one time and drop off.
It still depends on the metric you use.
Yeah. You come and you purchase it, you have another order, like any order. Yeah, just my own observation really, and that's in that line of business and data I've seen over time. Mm. Not subscription businesses, but businesses where you have to come back and repurchase again at different times. So this is the same thing. I just save this and I just build this. So the customers done. Want to do the product and the sellers. Okay, well, how do we do the product and the sellers? Do we have a product table safe? Build is successful. So notice this dim customers. Where did he build? Let's see where DBT built it. Because we've not created this, we've not given it a command on where you should build it, right? So let's see where DBT built it. It just built it at the DBT area daily team customers. Where is that? The customers. I don't even see them for here. See them? Where is the? Okay, created as a view, but where?
Successful.
Warehouse staging. In the source, created in our source table because it's not defined where it should be. All right. And created it as a view, but we don't want that. So the simple thing to do is to come to my mod pro DBT project YAML for my global config, and I add a configuration for my math layer. And I want this to be materialized as a table. I want this in my analytics database. And within my analytics database, I want this in my reporting schema. You understand what's going on, right? You understand what's going on, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Okay. So if we rebuild this, it is now built in analytics. It's now built in here. Analytics, TBT, daily dev. And yeah, happy day. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, cool. So let's do our dim products. Do we have a product table in here? We have dim product and dim sellers. Can we join them? We have product ID. We have seller ID. So this is going to be very simple. I'm just going to copy this and paste, right? I'm not enriching anything here. I don't think there's anything here to be enriched. So, but if you have alternative thoughts, please let me know. Or I don't see anything to enrich in here. Dim products. Happy day. Products. Yes. Stage products. Oh, there's enrichment to be done. No, I can see there's product and product category. Aha. Let's see. Something for me. Okay, so let's see what's in here. In stage products, what do we have? We have product ID, product name, product category. What do we have? Category name and no enrichment to be done. No. Category is almost useless, except there's category name. Oh, there's category name here. We just want to bring in probably category name in English. So I'm going to copy this guy and bring him in here. And I'll have this as final city. I'm selecting everything from products. And I'm left joining I'm gonna left join products category on products dot product name equal to product category dot product name, and I'm going to bring in product category dot product category name English, if that's what it's called. Yes, and I'm going to call this as products. Yeah, so and I'm going to select star from final for our dim products. Okay. Products or product name, products or product name, products or product name, products dot products name. Let me see. Okay, product category name. Okay, so what's the grain of this model? Huh? And yes, you can
Product ID.
product ID, yeah. And then you can also fix your lints on DBT Cloud. I mean, you can lint, what's the grammar? You can check lints. Why is no linting? No violations found. Okay. Product ID. I'm just going to quickly create the test for this, the YAML file. Have I built this? Let me build this first. And then theme sellers. What else do we need? Theme geography. Do we have anything like that? We have geolocations. Theme sellers will just also be just copying. We're just bringing this guy down, right? No major enhancements or no major enhancements needed there or enrichment. So everybody grabs what's going on now, right? I'm just creating the dimension models, and from our data, these things doesn't require any major enrichment. So, and when you can, it's advisable to use CTEs because they help for readability compared to subqueries.
Let me also ask this.
Yes.
So can we use the CTE for our, this is, okay, can we use CTE for query without using, can we use CTE to generate our YAML file without codegen? That is it, to generate the YAML source file. Is that going to work?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay. Like normally, I can write CTE to for my DBT query.
Mhm.
Yeah. So can I write my source file without, you use a method, you brought in the codegen to generate the YAML file.
Mhm.
Yep. What I'm saying is that without using codegen, can I write my source file without using codegen? That's my question.
Yes, you can write it 1 by 1. You can write it yourself. You can write it yourself. Code join is just make it fast. Okay, so I'm not going to create these staging sellers and stage locations. I'm sorry, dim sellers and dim location because they are not. I can't see them. I can't see that seller ID and geolocation ID happening needed anywhere or tied to any other. I can't see any other ID tied to a seller ID. Right. Let me see other payments. Yeah, I can't see anything. So I'm just going to ignore those. So we have 2 dimensions. So we'll just stick with that. Dim product and dim customer since we can use those ones. Oh, I created this already. So let me take this out. I don't think I've created the Java file for dim products. Let me create the Java file for dim products. So if you have a package that already exists to do what you're trying to do, LG life is good. You can just leverage that to solve your problems, right? No need of reinventing the wheel. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, okay. So what next do we have in here? Implementing slowly changing dimensions. Okay, slowly changing dimensions are dimensions that changes as the name implies. So for an example is order status. If I make an order today, it has a dimension or it has a status, order created. If a vendor accepts it, order accepted. If the order is now in transit, order in transit. If the order is delivered, order delivered. If order is paid, order paid. Now these dimensions are changing, and when capturing business processes, you want to be able to capture slowly changing dimensions, so you can see how these changes are happening. These slowly changing dimensions can exist in different ways. I'm coming. Let me see. I know I have a Google Sheet some time ago on this. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, okay, I found it. Let me share my screen again. So in slowly changing dimension, I think I use this for a video. That's why I have this. In type 0, dimension is never updated. So this is my primary key, customer name David F. Young, address remains the same forever and ever. Type 1, dimension is overwritten. So let's say my name is David and I relocated from Lagos to London, is overwritten. So once you check this primary key and this for this customer David F. Young, you will no longer see that. You will never know that my address was ever Lagos. You will see that my address has now changed to London. Now, type 2, which is where DBT, what DBT supports, is such that you keep all old records for the dimension by versioning the row. You version the row. So this is the original Lagos. So you now still keep this Lagos and now create a new record that says London. However, you have version 1 and version 2. Version 1 has a validity period from 2016 to 2023. Version 2 has a validity period from 2023. If valid 2 is empty, then it means that this record is still valid, right? I can just add type 3 for bonus. Type 3 keeps old records, but in the same row by adding a new previous column. So type 3 adds a new column. So previous address Lagos, current address London. Type 4 maintains current and old records in different tables. So I have table A that has my information. I have table 2 that has my new information, the validity period from, but does not show valid to. So you can just add this surrogate key. Version type 6 is a combination of type 1, type 2 plus type 3, where this is the original, and then I have the row versioned, I have the column versioned, and what's type 1 again? Yes, is overwritten, the row is versioned, and the column is versioned. So DBT supports type 2 using snapshots. All right. And next week, you'll be taught on how to use snapshots, the snapshot feature in DBT. So let's say you have a slowly changing dimension that you want to capture how customers' statuses are changing, right? From the source system. Perhaps the source system override, perhaps the source system is a type 1, right? Or a type 2 that's, yes, a type 1 that overrides, but you want to be able to capture it. So DBT snapshots will help you. Once you've brought in the first status, that will be your status 0, status 1. Once it changes from source, DBT is now, once DBT sees a new record coming for that other line ID or for that primary key that you've done, DBT just adds a record, adds a new row and shows validity period of that row. That is slowly changing dimensions in DBT, and it's done using the snapshot feature of DBT. By next week, you will learn how to use snapshot features better. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Any question? We're good. Okay. Flex, this class is it's like easy, it's flexing something.
Okay.
You say?
I wanted to ask something about the those types.
Okay.
Those so changing dimension types. I think type 3 or so.
Yeah.
Is it type 3 or type 4? I know you just showed us this, like just for us to be familiar with it. Um, so for the for that type 4, what happens when the record has changed more than once? So say, because here what it means is it will always keep the current and the one before the current or something. So
Mm.
let's say it used to be London, UK, and now it's Lagos, Nigeria. So like it changes, this London, UK goes to the table storing the previous record. Lagos, Nigeria keeps it. So let's say I still change from Lagos, Nigeria to Kano, Nigeria. What happens in that type 4? Will there now be two records against my name to put Lagos, Nigeria and London, Nigeria, or that London, UK will be overwritten with Lagos, Nigeria in that table storing the previous record, and then there will be a new the updated record in the main table. I'm
Okay.
just
Yeah. So this is what I believe would happen. So I moved from London I moved from Lagos to London. I don't like Accra, Ghana. No, let me go to somewhere else. Um, where do I want to go to like this now? Korea. Seoul, Korea. That place they have money, Abi. No, 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 no. Dubai, Dubai. No, no, no. Arab. Where's Arab money? Where's Arab money? Is it
Go
you,
to Qatar.
Qatar?
Qatar.
No, no, Qatar, you need what? You need connection. Let's see. Let me use Korea. So this would be table. Let me call this third change. So this is what happens when I change to London. By the time I'm now changing to by the time I'm now changing to Seoul, I'm going to have this valid from 2025. So this is what you now have. So I'll have my table one original, table two of my previous changes, and table three of my latest change in different tables.
Okay. That works. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Chidima, raise your hand at some point.
Yes, actually, mine is not a question per se. Mine is the attendance list. I haven't signed it, so I don't know. I haven't signed it.
First
I'm
and
not sure.
second.
Actually, I joined late. Yeah, I joined late because I was having a meeting before now. So that's just it.
You sign the second one.
And the first and the second, the vote is fine. Yeah, thank you.
Let's drop the second one in the group, and I'm dropping the first in the chat rather. I'm dropping the first one in the chat again. I've dropped it all then. So we are almost done. So we can start signing in for the second attendance. Okay. So let's talk about analysis and seeds. So understanding the analysis folders, ad hoc analysis query. How many of us used to get plenty ad hoc requests? Hey, Emeka, Nkechi, please give us the report for this thing. Hey, this new product, what has happened? Next 2 weeks, Monday. Hey, Emeka, give us the same report again. Next week, how many of us used to have that kind of ad hoc requests? Is it only me?
Yeah.
Okay, it's all of us. That is only me. So DBT analysis. Analysis folder is not a folder that runs on your data warehouse. So this is how DBT puts it. DBT notion of models makes it easy for data teams to version control and collaborate. However, sometimes a certain SQL statement might not quite fit into the mode of a DBT model. They are more analytical SQL files. These are more than analytical SQL files can be versioned inside your DBT project using the analysis functionality. So, for example, I have a request from one client. This woman can disturb me so much. She's disturbing me too much. And that report is not like a dashboard request because she does not check it. Even like once every market day. One every market day, she will call. How far? I want this thing. I cannot be writing the whole query again for that report every time. So I just put it in my analysis folder so that anytime I need that, run that query, I give her an answer. Everybody is happy, right? It's just like a place to save my this thing. It's not DBT will compile it, but it's not executed, right? And let's say if you wanted to reference it, let's say you want to reference it in downstream models, but you don't want it to be built within your DBT project, within your DBT project or data warehouse. DBT can also you can also reference it, but typically it's just there, sha. You will not use it too much. I mean, I don't use it too much. This is the use case I use it for. So that's your analysis folder, and this is it in your project. This is it here, analysis folder. Is there any question on analysis folder? It's just basically for ad hoc queries, ad hoc analysis. Any question? Is there? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you
Sorry,
now.
I didn't know I was. Okay, so I wanted to ask, like, once you want to when you want to work in that analysis folder, Like, how are you going to see the result of your SQL query?
Yeah, normal. It's just like it's the same thing. Test that it's the same. I can just copy one model and put inside there. Your normal SQL file. You would once you preview, you see the results. Let me copy this guy inside of here. Once you preview, you see the results. So just that once you run DBT run on DBT build, it's not a built on a data warehouse, right? It's in built on a data warehouse.
So how are you going to export the results? How are you going to see your stakeholder
And you have
analysis?
your query now using dev. You can pull it, run your query, pull it out, or carry the query, run it on your Snowflake or your database or whatever, and get your answer and send them the result. Basically, just for ad hoc analysis, right? Like the name what implied, ad hoc. You're not putting any pipeline, no dashboard, no reporting. Just hey, give me this in Excel. Most time the result is in Excel. Just put it out and share it then in Excel. So that's really what analysis is used for. And then seeds, I guess you're already familiar with the concept of seeds, right? Seeds are not used to load data. We just used it for our own use case. Use it for things that do not change for reference files. Say, for example, country, like somebody said so. I run my seed file, dbt seed, and I can now reference that country code using the ref function. So if I create a seed file, if I create a seed model, I can reference that stuff using, I can reference the models in my seed or the data in my seed files using the ref function, right? So here now that we have this seed customer, all this customer, I can actually reference it. I can actually do select star from ref all list customers. And you will have a response. Hey, you don't have a response. Ah, you have after me, you. Ah. You see?
Can you share more on this thing, the analysis folder? What are some of other functions that you can perform?
What other functions can it perform?
Analysis that
Okay, so because I've not run DBT seeds in this. I've run, this is it now.
that
I'm coming. Okay, it's zero. Nothing is inside here. I don't want to run the BTC, but once I run, the record is empty. That's why there's nothing there, but it exists. I think because we canceled the DBT seeds in there, I believe it is referencing the one we have in source. We saw our source file is referencing this guy. So. But then my point on these seeds is that your seeds are used for reference files that they are small, they don't change frequently. You don't want to put it on a pipeline like Airbyte or Fivetran or whatever you're using for your extraction. Just put it on seed, load it to your data warehouse and reference it for analysis. Simple and short. Yes, sir. You asked me a question on analysis. Can you take that question again?
okay. I say what are uh,
I can't hear you.
I say what are some of the other functions regarding analytics that you can perform besides like running your query on it? So like is it possible, for example, maybe you have you already have your pipelines and you can automate it directly you automate your pipeline directly to DBT analytics.
So analysis folder is more for ad hoc things. Anything that you would have to now be running frequently, put on a pipeline schedule, should probably not live in your analysis folder. You should probably live in your models, right? But something that you don't want in your data warehouse, maybe a report on, somebody will ask on this maybe once in 3 months, you can just save the query there. For me, I see it as a saving, as a place to save infrequently used completed queries. You ask for a report, I take my time and build a query to give you that report, and you probably ask for that report again in 2 months' time, and it's, you don't want a dashboard for it. I don't have to put it somewhere and forget where I kept it. Since I'm working within DBT, I can put it in my analysis folder. Whenever I need it, I run it there and give you a response in Excel sheets. And that's how it is. So anything that you want to now put in the pipeline, check frequently, then probably should not be in your analysis folder. All right. Okay, we've talked about seeds as well. So finally, let's talk about deployments. Aha, wow, we have come a long way. Interesting. Please, let's clap for ourselves. Let's clap for ourselves. Thank you for clapping for ourselves. So we'll talk about understanding environment, DBT dev environment and prod environment. We are familiar with added analysis. Oh, I thought I've saved this guy. Okay. All right. So in DBT Cloud, when we come to orchestration, we come to environments. What's the word? What's the word? I'm going to be focusing on deployments just on for DBT, right? DBT fundamentals, deployment fundamentals, understand environment. So first we have our environment. Your environment within DBT is where you tell DBT that, hey, this is my dev environment and this is my prod environment. As the name implies, your dev is for development and your prod is for production. Why do we have those two environments? We have those two environments for control. Think about software developers. How do they work? They have a dev environment, they have a prod environment. They make changes in their dev, they test it in their dev, they have a pull request in dev, people review the pull request in dev before they merge to production. That's where they control whatever goes into production. The same thing for DBT. DBT is saying that, hey, data professionals can work in the same way as well. Data professionals can work with two environments, dev environment and prod environment. You can make your development in dev environment, make changes in dev environment, make trials in dev environment, and when you're ready, you push it to a prod environment, and so that your end users are only building reports or seeing reports coming from your prod environment. You don't have to be building stuff on stored procedures that only exist on one place, and you make a change and you don't know what's going to happen and stuff like that. But you can work in environments, dev and prod. For the last couple of weeks, we have been working on dev environments, and today we want to open up a new environment called the prod environment. If I click on this button here, you will see DBT has something here, and I'm going to call this production. Environment type is deployment, and deployment type is general, staging, or production. And for us, we're using production. And latest, we're using versionless. You can just leave all these things as they are. Only run on a custom branch. Yes, I want to run on a custom branch. I don't want to run on main branch because a custom branch is what we are using. We are using what's our branch again? Instructor, instructor, instructor branch. That's where is it a dash or a underscore dash? That's where our changes are, right? The main branch is for people to clone the repo and use it to work. So connection, I select my staging snowflake or whatever. All this already exists. My database, I'm going to make this analytics because I want it to run on analytics database. It's optional, sha, but I'll leave it as it is. Give me a second. Let me test. I hope. Oh God. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. How far? This deployment, does it make sense? How many of us have deployed the job on DBT before? It's quite simple actually, so nothing to worry about. It's just a click of buttons. Are we still here?
Yeah, we are still here. We are with you.
And I want my this in the reporting schema. So let's test connection, and I hope this is correct. Correction connection complete, and I'm gonna save this. You. No jobs. I have created my production environment in D.
Okay, sorry, David, I have a question now. Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking that you need to create your environment first before you run any production on DBT. Like, we have been running it for the past 2 weeks now. I was thinking that we must have created our environment before now. Can you hear the question?
Yes, so I think we only created dev environment for development. We did not create
Okay.
prod environment.
Sorry, I didn't get you. You said what?
We only created development environments for dev.
Okay.
We did not create a prod environment. So what we're creating right now is the deployment environment, deploy
Okay.
to
Well, I
production.
think it's the same thing. It's just the same step, using the same schema and the rest of them, and your password, right?
Yes, the same thing. Just that when
So
you're
the
creating it, you have to specify on DBT Cloud if you're creating a dev environment or a prod. So if you can see right now, we now have two environments, dev.
okay. Pro production and development. Yeah.
Thank you. So we've created our dev environment. The next thing we don't now create is a job. What is a job? Who can tell what the job is? What is a job? What is a job? What is a job? Someone tell me what is a job?
I think a job is something you configure to run on its own.
God bless you. A job is something that runs on its own on a schedule. So let us create, there are three kinds of job you can create in DBT Cloud. Can create a deployment job, which is what we're going to do. Can create a CI job that runs on a pull request. So whenever there's a pull request, that CI job runs to ensure that everything on that pull request fits can be fits into what's on production, right? Then we have a merge job that whenever you merge a pull request, DBT would only run the changes that were added on the pull request on production, right? So these are three jobs available on DBT Cloud. We want to create a deployment job. So let's call this job our Bootcamp deploy job. And then we'll bring this to which environment we're using production environment. So on your production job, you can decide to run a source freshness check. All right. On your models, then you can put your command. For us, we don't have seeds, so I want to exclude that seed. So we're going to exclude that seed guy. Then we can also generate our docs on run. Our docs generates. If you want to add other commands, let's say you want to separate DBT seed, you want to put DBT depths. Oh, we need DBT depths. Yeah. Abby, am I thinking too much? Do we need DBT depths? I think we do. Yes, we do. I believe we do. I believe DBT runs that by default. I don't know anymore. I think DBT runs that by default. And then what's your schedule for running this? If it fails, we'll find out. You want to run this every 2 hours, every 3 hours, every day. You can work your schedule. You want to have a specific, you want to use specific hours. You want to use cron schedule to set it up. Have fun by all means. But this is what our production job looks like. If you have a specific target name, so remember I told you that you can limit amount of data to be created in dev. All right, you can create a macro that does this. That if target name is not prod, created as for your transactions table can be just the last four, can just be within a certain period. That's the big thing. You can also, if you're using deferrals, are we going to talk about deferrals in this class? Deferrals. No, we're not talking about deferral in this class. Maybe I'll just quickly show you what deferral is on dev again. Threads. I want to use 8 threads. And voila, we've created our job. Our job is ready. So let us run our job.
Sorry, Mr. David, what does that thread? What does it mean?
Which one?
Thread.
Thread. A thread in DBT is, how best I explain this? I will check online, but let me try to explain this the way I use it. Thread basically is telling DBT how many models do you want it to be able to run concurrently at a time. So 8 threads means, hey, concurrently run 8 models at the same time. Do 8 things at the same time concurrently. DBT threads. Let us see. It says the number of threads represents the maximum number of paths through the graph DBT may work on at once. Increasing the number of threads can minimize the runtime of a project. So that's why I increase the number of runs. So for example, if you specify 1 thread, DBT will start building only one model and finish it before moving on to the next. If you specify 8 threads, it means that DBT will work on up to 8 models at once without violating dependencies. The actual number of models you can work on will likely be constrained by the available paths through the dependency graph. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we are running our prod job. And remember, by default, CBT will run your prod job on your main branch because they expect that you're building on branches and then you merge to main. But for our use case, we are using our instructor branch. So that's why I defaulted the job to run on this thing, to run on remind me that grammar, to run on instructor branch. And so, like I said, DBT devs run by default on cloud. Source freshness field. Do we have a source freshness test? Yes, we have a source freshness test. And of course, we know why it failed, right? It failed. And then we see that we have a warning here. This is a warning because there's one warning. One of our tests is giving warning. We left it like that last week. And so you can see that now, something is wrong here. Transformations dot reporting underscore staging. That's not what I want. Can somebody see what's wrong here? So my transformations model are running. Okay, I see what is wrong. I see what is wrong. I see what is wrong. Can anybody see what is wrong? Are we there?
Yes, yeah.
Nobody's seeing what is wrong. Okay. Well, I set schema to be reporting, and so for transformation for the staging models is giving me reporting underscore staging, but then I wanted just staging, right? Um, so I'm going to go back to our dev. Before I go back to dev, let me go back here. Environment. This environment, Is this okay? Needs a schema. Okay. So let me see. Target schema. Mm, is none. Second schema is prod, then if custom schema is empty, if custom schema is empty,
Not needed.
is that? Custom schema is empty and target schema is prod or not prod. Is not prod, then default schema else custom schema. Coming. So I don't want that happening. What's happening here is that I'm having reporting. My schema name is reporting. I just want reporting as my main schema, and I want staging as my main schema. I don't want reporting staging. I want reporting. I want reporting here, and I want staging here. So that's what I'm trying to fix. So I'm going to drop this again so that I can see where my problem is solved. Obani Jesu.
Class.
Yeah.
Oh,
Last
I'm even far behind. Like I need to do something.
From sweet to my soul. If target name, yep. Okay, so I think this is the last thing on our schedule for today. Let me try this out and see how this plays out. Okay. Uh-huh. No logs. You didn't run. I think there's something wrong there. There's something wrong here. I'm coming. Just give me a few more minutes to solve this problem. Okay. I think this is what we need. You are worthy of my worship, worthy of my praise. So if target name is dev, default schema. If target name is prod, custom schema, else default schema. So would use this instead. Hey guys, well done. Oh. We're still here, Abby.
Yes, we are.
Okay, that voice sounds angry. Who was that? Please
So it's
don't.
me, but it's not an angry voice.
Okay, okay. So let's rerun again. You know what I'm trying to achieve, right? So that's one of the, if it's not working well, then it's not I will not be happy. It should work as expected. Why is there no kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ gangan? But at this point, you can solve the problem. What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? I'm not sure what's happening. Why it's giving me double? I've changed my schema name. Okay. Transformations. Staging does not exist. Eh. So it's running on dev. Dev is working as expected. So let me go back to prod. Iran, no. See, I don't know it. It has run, prod has run since. So you can see transformations dot reporting for transformations and analytics dot reporting for analytics. So I know that this is my prod schema on analytics database. This is my prod schema on analytics this thing. So let me drop this guy. So with the custom schema, what I just changed on the custom schema was instead was to use the environment, dev versus prod, to determine what to use. So if it is dev, use the default schema, which is dbt io at d eval. If it is prod, use the custom schema. So for prod, use the custom schema reporting, use the custom schema reporting. Okay, that is the end of today. I've talked about scheduling, I've talked about production jobs, and your goal is to complete dimensional model, one fact and four dimension models. So you can create the fact model on your own. And yeah, I think we're in a good place. Any question? Yeah, even.
All right. I'm not sure if this was explained during the first class. I wanted to ask about this GitHub feature on DBT Cloud. Like, how does it work? Because when I try to like work on it, I'm just clicking a lot of buttons. I mean, I have to go to GitHub, click, push, pull, all those things. So I wanted to like know how it is. Like, can you explain how you push it to GitHub? All these changes.
Like connecting DBT Cloud to GitHub.
No, not connecting. No, not connecting. I mean, like all the changes that you made on DBT Cloud. How do you push it? Like version control. How do you push it to GitHub?
Yeah, once I just if you're in your studio in DBT Cloud, it means that your Git has been successfully connected. If your Git is successfully
Yeah.
connected and you're in studio environment in DBT Cloud, once you save a query, you will see this will change to commit. If I
Yeah.
make a change here and save it, this guy will just change to commit. You can see commit and sync. So all I just do is
Yeah.
click and commit. And that's committed to the branch. That's all. So the only thing is just confirming that your Git is connected to the DBT Cloud and you can go into Studio.
Oh, okay. Okay. But I think most times after I've done that this particular step, when I end up clicking on create a pull request on GitHub, then it now take me to GitHub. So I think that's
It
like
will
I
take you to, it will
should
take
not
you to
have.
GitHub now. It's expected.
Yeah.
It will take you to GitHub.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So
I
this is
thought that was also part of the process.
no, no, no. It's take you to GitHub and you create a pull request and merge.
Okay. That one is if you are pulling from GitHub into DBT Cloud. That's when you can go with that.
So you pull to DBT Cloud if somebody else has made some changes on, or you have made some changes and you're back to Studio. That's development to work. So you have to put the existing change from main into your branch, right? Because you're not working on the main branch, you're working in dev branch. Um, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any question? In the absence of none, thank you very much. The recording shall be sent to our link. Recording shall be sent to, what's the grammar? Shall be sent to our emails and chats. Thank you so much. See you all soon.
Thank you and God bless. Have a
Thank
restful.
you.